Welcome to my latest case, Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. To start, choose Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, click on Tutorial. Dear Hannah, here I am at the railroad station along with a handful of other detectives about to board a train bound for who knows where. The only person who knows where we're going is Lori Gerard. That's the young woman who invited everyone. Actually, she didn't really invite me. She invited Frank and Joe Hardy, and they invited me. And I've always wanted to join forces with the Hardy Boys. I just hope this doesn't turn out to be another one of Lori's silly attempts to grab publicity. Some people can be a little too rich and a little too famous for their own good. Wish me luck. Love, Nancy.
Well, people, now that our little orientation tour is over, let's get started. Okay, I, again, am Lori Gerard, and the first thing I want to do is thank you all for coming. John Gray, I am so thrilled that you're taking time out from that TV show of yours to do some ghost hunting here with us. I mean, Ghost Chasers is like the best cable show ever. And Charlena Purcell, I cannot tell you how much I adore those romance novels you write. Your characters just seem so real. And all that stuff you know about the Old West, you are just awesome. And Tino Balducci, only the most famous police detective in the country. And then there's Frank and Joe Hardy. They're amateur detectives. My dad and their dad are old friends. And you must be the other amateur detective, their friend, Natalie?
Nancy Drew?
Whatever. All right, I'll bet you're wondering where we're going. Well, we're going to Copper Gorge, Colorado. Why? To solve the mystery of what happened to Jake Hurley, the man who originally owned this train. Because see, one day in 1903, this train was found in a place called Blue Moon Canyon, which was out in the middle of the Nevada desert. Only the engineer was on board, and he was dead. As for Jake Hurley, he had disappeared from the face of the earth. Oh, and two more things. Before he disappeared, Jake was rumored to have found the richest gold mine in the world. And the train he owned, this train, his wife Camille died on it while they were going to the gold fields. It was rumored to be haunted.
She's gone.
Oh my gosh.
What in the world?
Hey, what's going on?
People should never go tampering with things they don't understand.
Oh, brother.
It's okay. Everybody just stay calm. No need to panic. I'll get to the bottom of this.
Well, Nancy, you're up on all that social etiquette stuff. What are you supposed to do when your hostess vanishes into thin air?
If I don't seem concerned, it's because I'm not. Lori Gerard is a young woman whose only goal in life is to be famous. She craves attention and habitually uses her father's considerable wealth to get it.
So you think her disappearing like that is just some kind of publicity stunt?
I just think she couldn't resist showing off in front of all of us minor celebrities. What was your name again?
Nancy Drew. You and I have actually met. Sort of. I called you not too long ago when I was at Shadow Ranch. You gave me some information about Dirk Valentine.
Ah, Nancy Drew.
You remember me?
No.
What else do you know about Jake Hurley?
Psst, Nancy. Come here.
Excuse me for a second.
I think you better talk to those two friends of yours before you talk to me.
Hey, Nance.
Where have you two been?
I followed Tino Balducci.
And I went after John Gray. He went straight to the room in the car that used to be Camille's and didn't come out again. I could hear all these weird noises coming from inside.
Did you talk to him?
I was just about to go in, but the next thing I know, Joe's got my arm in a vice grip and is dragging me back here, babbling about how Balducci's our guy.
He found something on the floor right where Lori was standing when the train went dark. I saw him pick it up and put it in his pocket. Then he left.
Did you see what it was?
When I tried to talk to him, he just kind of brushed me aside and said something snotty like, "I'm on the job here, Junior, so just go back to the playground and stay out of the way." In case you two hadn't noticed, we're not getting a lot of respect around here. Can't we at least tell Balducci that we do stuff for ATAC?
You know the rules.
ATAC?
American Teens Against Crime. We do a lot of undercover work for them.
Wonder Cop's probably never even been undercover.
Joe, let it go. What'd Charlena have to say?
She thinks Lori is faking this whole disappearance thing.
She's not the only one.
How can you say that? You heard Lori scream.
Anybody can scream, Joe. Especially girls whose fathers have given them acting lessons along with everything else they've ever wanted.
What about you, Nancy? What do you think?
I kind of agree with Frank.
You've got to be kidding.
Do you think maybe one of Lori's other guests is in on her disappearance?
It's certainly possible.
From the way she talked, it didn't sound like she knew any of them.
Maybe that's what she wanted us to think.
Or maybe that's what one of them wanted her to think.
Well, whether Lori disappeared by force or by choice, what we've got to do now is find her.
Absolutely.
Has anyone talked to the engineer?
Not that I know of.
Then I'm going to head up front and tell him what's happened. Maybe he knows something we don't.
Good idea. In the meantime, we'll take another look around in here.
Great. Catch you later.
Engineer, what do you want?
Hello, I'm one of the passengers, and I just thought you should know that Lori Gerard has disappeared.
So?
Did you know she was going to disappear?
Hey, all I know is I take orders from Miss Gerard, okay? Right now my orders are to get this train to Copper Gorge non-stop. And until Miss Gerard tells me otherwise, that's what I'm gonna do.
But Lori may not even be on the train anymore.
Look, Miss Gerard may not be a rocket scientist or anything, but even she knows better than to jump off a moving train.
But...
Now, if you'll excuse me, I got me a train to run.
Looks like some sort of steam valve. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. A square and a duck. It looks like this thing opens up, but how? This door goes outside. Opening it now would not be a good idea.
What have you got?
See you soon.
If you need anything, just let us know.
Sadie Crawford. It looks like there's something behind this painting, but I can't seem to move it.
Yes?
What are you working on?
I'm writing my next book. I'm on a deadline, so until I write those two most wonderful of all three-letter words, the end, everywhere I go, my laptop goes, and every chance I get, I write.
What else do you know about Jake Hurley? You know, the man who originally owned this train?
Wealthy, imaginative, adventurous, stubborn, egocentric, and most importantly, he was smitten at the age of 35 by a young French woman named Camille Voulet, who died about a year after they were married.
Where was he from?
East Coast, Philadelphia, I think. His parents were British aristocrats. Sometime in the 1870s, he decided to seek his fortune out west, so he had this train custom built so that he, and some years later his wife, could traverse the mountains and plains in relative comfort.
So he went west and became a miner?
All anyone knows for sure is that years after Camille's death, he showed up in Denver with a pouch full of gold nuggets and semi-precious stones, which he used to purchase mining supplies. He refused to say how he'd come by them, which of course led to speculation that he had found a fantastically rich vein somewhere. Although to this day, its existence remains unsubstantiated and its location quite unknown.
Why do you think Lori invited you on this trip?
No doubt because I'm such an authority on life in the Old West, and because I'm so good at using old information to unearth new information. My knack for research is, well, it's a gift.
I'll let you get back to your writing.
My publisher thanks you.
Pretty. Looks like some kind of gemstone. This must have been the sleeping car. I need 4 numbers to unlock this, and there's, 10,000 possible combinations? Guessing could take me a while. Left pickaxe and lamp with buhl for safekeeping. To open what's closed, lead is the key. Or is it lead is the key?
Hey, come on over here. Hi, you're that Nancy person. How you doing? John Gray.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I've seen your TV show.
Then I don't have to explain what I'm doing.
Yeah, you do.
Right now I'm taking time-lapse electromagnetic readings and recording background noise. This was Camille's private car. If she had something to do with Lori's disappearance, analyzing these readings may give me a clue as to Lori's whereabouts.
Are you saying that Camille's ghost kidnapped Lori?
What to most people are ghosts are actually temporary distortions in local electromagnetic fields caused by the presence of residual psychic energy generated by the person or persons who frequented that particular locale. That's my working theory, at least.
That's very interesting.
It's all very scientific. But the fact is, Lori's missing, and I, for one, am doing everything in my power to find her. The vibes I'm getting make me think she could be in serious trouble.
Charlena Purcell thinks Lori is just playing some kind of joke on us.
Charlena Purcell writes romance novels. End of comment.
What do you think of Tino Balducci?
I kind of feel sorry for the guy. After catching those bank robbers, he can't just be a good cop anymore. He's got to be a great cop. Tough to perform under that kind of pressure.
Is Lori a friend of yours?
First time I met her was when I boarded this train with all the rest of you. I knew her by reputation, of course, like everyone else who reads the tabloids. It doesn't appear that anyone aboard this train is her friend.
Maybe she planned it that way.
You mean so we'd concentrate all our efforts on finding Jake Hurley? Possible, although she really doesn't strike me as being the planning type.
Thanks for the chat.
Goodbye.
This looks like some sort of game. Wipe out. I did it! Wonder what's in here. It's locked. Looks like Camille was teaching herself how to play the piano. Thomasina O'Neill. It's locked. If I had some music, I could play a tune. I wonder what's under here, and what the deal is with those weird-looking bolts. Looks like I need a special tool.
Sup?
Thanks for the chat.
Goodbye.
Hello?
Nancy, hi, it's me.
Hi, Bess.
And me.
Hey, George, what's up?
What's up? You're the one who's on the train with a bunch of famous people. You tell us. This is torture, Nancy. I'm dying of curiosity here.
Bess, just calm down.
Oh, like you're not just as curious as I am. She's the one who insisted we call you Nancy.
Only because you're driving me crazy. I'm supposed to be helping her paint her room, but every other brushstroke, she's like, where do you think she is now? How do you think the Hardy Boys are doing? Why do you think she hasn't called? What do you think Laurie Gerard is wearing?
Oh, George, that is so not true. I could care less what Laurie Gerard is wearing. So come on, Nancy. You're on a train full of famous people bound for who knows where. So dish already, would ya?
Bess, calm down. Look what you did. You got paint in my hair.
I'm sorry. You know, actually, that looks kind of cool.
Nice try, Bess.
No, really.
You're just saying that because you're afraid I'll bail and you'll wind up having to paint this dump all by yourself.
George, I kid you not. You should seriously think about doing some major highlights in that color.
What color is it?
Adobe beige.
Nice try, Bess.
What's going on, Nan?
Our hostess has disappeared.
What do you mean, disappeared?
I mean, the train went into a tunnel, everything went dark, and when the train came out of the tunnel, no Lori. She just disappeared.
Publicity stunt.
My thoughts exactly.
Remember the time she was allegedly kidnapped from her Vegas hotel room?
Yeah, the guy across the hall just happened to have a camera and got it all on tape.
It made the evening news in practically every city in the country. And then there was her daring escape the next morning.
Only it turns out she faked the whole thing.
Of course, she claims her ex-boyfriend faked it to get back at her. She thought she was really being kidnapped.
Like anybody believes that.
Sounds to me like somebody has been spending a lot of time reading the tabloids.
George has.
Very funny. So what else is going on?
Before she disappeared, Lori told us that the purpose of this train trip is to find out what happened to Jake Hurley, the train's original owner.
Was he murdered or something?
No one knows. He was married to a woman named Camille, but she died, and he eventually vanished while mining for gold. His train was found abandoned in Blue Moon Canyon, Nevada, with no one on board but his dead engineer.
Whoa, spooky. Have any theories?
Not yet, but the train is also rumored to be haunted by his dead wife.
So first Hurley's wife dies, then Hurley vanishes, then the engineer dies, then Lori vanishes. A pattern, maybe?
Bess, do us all a favor and leave the detective work to Nancy, okay?
Has either of you been to Copper Gorge, Colorado?
Never heard of the place. Why?
Well, that's where the train I'm on is headed. Apparently Jake Hurley buried his wife Camille there after she died on the train.
She died on the train? Ew, creepy.
John Gray has set up a bunch of equipment in Camille's train car in hopes of documenting distortions in the electromagnetic field caused by her residual energy.
Say what?
He's looking for Camille's ghost. Don't you ever watch him on TV?
Just because I watch him doesn't mean I understand him.
Catch you later.
Okay. Well, George, back to work.
Hey, Nancy, right?
That's right, Nancy Drew.
Amateur detective, huh? Ever thought about becoming a real detective? You know, like me?
You mean become a police detective? No, I never have.
It's a great job, you know. I love it. You, heard about those bank robberies I solved, right?
Yes, I sure did.
Baffling case. Two-man team at 17 banks in 3 states in 5 days. FBI had no idea who the perps were. But after forcing their vehicle to a stop, confronting them, despite the fact that they were armed and giving chase, I single-handedly made the collar.
I heard they stopped because you accidentally rear-ended them.
You heard wrong. You see, Nancy, when somebody does something really remarkable in this country, the first thing everybody else does is try to tear them down. Reporters, late-night comedians, even some of my fellow officers, all have been spreading vicious lies about me. Why? Because they've never done anything remarkable in their sorry little lives, and they're jealous. Anyway, you should look around in here. Lots of interesting stuff. This was Jake's private car, you know.
I understand that you found something on the floor in the dining car.
Yeah, at first I thought it was an old coin, but it turned out to be some kind of slug.
Where do you think it came from?
Probably been lying there for 100 years. May have served a purpose back then, but now, worthless.
May I see it?
Sure. In fact, here, keep it. Wear it around your neck or something. That way, when people ask you where you got it, you can tell them Tino Balducci gave it to you. The Tino Balducci.
Oh, thank you.
What else can I do for you?
So, what do you think happened to Lori?
She could have been kidnapped. She could have been tossed off the train. She could be hiding from us. But I obviously won't know which until I've gathered all the facts.
When do you think that will be?
I'll know the facts when I know the facts. The truth can't be rushed, you know.
Have you had a chance to talk to Charlena Purcell?
Now, why would I want to do a thing like that?
You don't like her?
I can't stand those sappy books she writes. And seeing as I said as much during an interview on national TV once, it's a pretty safe bet she doesn't like me.
Have you talked to John Gray?
The ghost guy? Total quack. Only reason I talked to him would be to arrest him for fraud.
It's been great talking to you.
Anything for a fellow detective.
Wonder what Jake used this for. Another gemstone. Looks like an old-fashioned cigar box. Wonder why it's locked. J.H. For Jake Hurley, obviously. Must be Jake's insignia. Eliza Sandberger. There, all done. Another gemstone. An old scale. Strange. It seems to be built into the wall. Wonder why it's got all those symbols on it like that. It's locked. Looks like some kind of sewing sampler. I've seen some of those symbols before. I wonder if there's a relationship between those symbols and those numbers. It's locked. Sickly Sarah caught a germ so new, it made one of her pretty green eyes turn blue. The Little Book of Samplers.
Sup?
Thanks for the chat.
Pleasure talking to you.
That square and that duck look very familiar. Silver. What do all those colors have to do with silver? Looks like to make this thing, whatever it is, I'm going to need a spyglass, a pickaxe, and a lamp. Citrine, amethyst, zircon, those are all gemstones, I think. If I had a spyglass, I'd put it right here. Wonder what's supposed to go here. Lori?
Oh my gosh! I never thought you'd be the one to find me. No offense. Nadine?
Nancy Drew.
Well, as you can see, I wasn't really spirited away by ghosts or anything. That bookshelf in the dining car, you step on this thing in the floor in there, and it slides open. I practiced disappearing for weeks.
So it was just all for show?
Well, not entirely. See, here's the deal. My dad wound up with this train when he bought out Noram Shipping. They'd been storing it in this old warehouse outside St. Louis for so long that everybody had just forgotten about it. Anyway, after mass begging on my part, Dad had the train restored to working condition and got me an engineer and track permits and all that other stuff until finally, here we are, on our way to find out what happened to Jake Hurley.
I think you were going to explain why you kidnapped yourself.
Oh, right. Well, see, I was one of the first people in 100 years to set foot on this train, okay? Everything was just the way it was when Jake disappeared. Except I also found this. It's a letter that Jake wrote in 1901 to his niece back east. He was real paranoid about claim jumpers, which is why he never told anyone where his mine was. But he was also afraid something would happen to him and no one would ever know where it was. So he wrote this letter to his only living relative, Ruth Kensington. Here, take it.
You want me to have it? Why?
Because you found me. See, in that letter, Jake tells Ruth that everything she needs to figure out where his mine is on this train. He also warns her that his wife's spirit is on the train too, which kind of creeps me out. But the thing is, to find Jake's lost mine, we need the train.
How do you know this Ruth person didn't find the mine decades ago?
Mostly because I found that letter in the wastebasket. It was like she'd gotten so ticked off trying to follow her nutty uncle's clues that she finally said to heck with the whole thing.
So you want me to try to figure out where the mine is?
Uh-huh. As for the other people on board, if you want to show them that letter, go ahead. It's totally up to you. We're going to Copper Gorge because that's where Jake buried Camille, so I figured his mine might be somewhere around there too. But if you think we need to go somewhere else, you just let me know and I'll have the engineer take us there.
How come you didn't try to find the mine yourself?
Maybe I did. Or maybe I just thought letting other people try to find it would be a good excuse to throw a party. I like parties.
How well do you know your guests?
Well, I don't know you or those Harvey guys at all.
Hardy. Frank and Joe Hardy.
Whatever. I didn't know John Gray before this either, but I love his show, and I figured he'd jump at the chance to investigate an honest-to-goodness haunted train, and now that someone has finally found me, I can finally go meet him for real.
What about Tino Balducci?
I met Tino right after he got famous for solving those robberies. Inviting him here for this was a no-brainer. I mean, what an awesome detective. And those piercing eyes of his, you just know his mind's in there going 90 miles an hour.
How well do you know Charlena Purcell?
I just know her from her books, which are so good. In fact, I just started reading her latest one, The Moon Tells No Lies. See, what I'd really like to do is write romance novels. Everybody who knows me says I'd be really good at it. In fact, a while back, I sent Charlena some ideas, just to see what she thought.
And?
She hated them.
I'll come back later.
I'll be waiting.
Looks like a dance floor, maybe? I bet I know what this is for. Locked, naturally. Wonder how you open it. Wonder how you're supposed to get this open. That could be one of the gems I need. Maybe Tino will let me take a closer look. That could be one of the gems I need. Maybe Tino will let me take a closer look.
Well, it's the little lady detective. What do you need?
I found Lori. She was hiding in the caboose.
Oh, yeah?
She disappeared because she wanted to see who'd find her first, which is why she left that clue behind.
That slug? I mean, I knew that slug was a clue. That's why I gave it to you. I mean, I could have found Lori no sweat, but I thought, hey, why not give somebody else a shot? And you came through. Nice job.
Thank you.
But look, from now on, if you come across anything that may have something to do with Jake Hurley and his mind, let me know, okay? Just so I can, give you advice, help you sort things out. After all, the opportunity to work side by side with a world-famous police detective doesn't come along every day, you know.
How did you and Lori meet?
We met at a party in New York. Nice girl. Not a lot upstairs, but nice girl.
Did you two go out?
Nope, no, never went out. No.
What do you think happened to Jake Hurley?
He probably died trying to work that mine of his all by himself. But I'll let you in on a secret. I'm onto something that could crack this case wide open.
You know where the mine is?
Sorry, can't go into detail. Let's just say that thanks to yours truly, what happened to Jake Hurley won't be a mystery much longer.
Do you think I could take a closer look at that cougar statue?
What, that cigar clipper? Go ahead, take a look.
I'll bet I need this stone to build that thing in the diagram I found. But if I remove it now, Tina will know I'm onto something. Interesting. I just wanted to get a good look at it, that's all.
What else can I do for you?
It's been great talking to you.
Not a problem. What's going on?
Thanks for your help.
Anything for a fellow detective.
Looks like a pattern for some kind of dance step. Maybe I'd better keep this. Wilson carbide and acetylene works. Always your friend, Thomas Wilson. That tool I saw in the caboose. I bet that's what you use to unscrew these bolts. More pipes to connect. Here we go.
Don't do that, please. Those microphones I set up over there are very sensitive. Just about took out my eardrums. You can play that thing when I'm done. I'll let you know when that is, all right?
Okay.
What's up?
I found Lori safe and sound in the caboose, so I guess those vibes you got about her being in serious trouble were wrong.
Strange. My vibes are never wrong. What's even stranger is I'm still getting them. So maybe they're not about Lori. Maybe they're about you.
I'm confused. Are you a scientist or a psychic?
I happen to be both. What's commonly referred to as psychic phenomena is all a matter of energy. Just because we don't know where that energy is generated or how to measure it yet, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Trust me, either you or Lori is, or soon will be, in big trouble.
Could you be more specific?
Unfortunately, no.
I won't keep you any longer.
Pleasure talking to you. Don't even think about it.
Yes?
I found Lori. She's in the caboose. You were right. She disappeared because she wanted to see which of us would find her first.
And you won. Congratulations.
The others on the train, John Gray and that police detective, do you know them very well?
I don't know them at all. Needless to say, I don't watch television, so I've never even seen Mr. Gray before. Although I do know that his profession, if you can call it that, is rife with crackpots. As for Mr. Balducci, from what I've read, his success in solving those robberies was less a matter of talent and more a matter of being in the right place at precisely the right time.
In other words, you don't think he deserves all the attention he's getting?
No. You and those two Boy Scouts you're with would make better detectives. Is that all, dear?
Did you know that Lori wants to be a romance novelist?
Doesn't everyone?
Do you think she could do it?
No. Could we please talk about something a little more pleasant?
I'll touch bases with you later.
My publisher thanks you.
Nancy, what's with the Cheshire Cat grin?
You found Lori.
Yep, she's holed up in the caboose, and as a reward for finding her, she let me have this. It's a letter from Jake to his niece in which he leaves clues telling her how to find his mine. Only the clues are extremely obtuse.
You found Lori, you got the letter with all the clues. Guess you don't need us anymore.
Oh, Joe, quit pouting. Want any help?
Are you kidding? You bet I do.
Now you're talking.
Balducci wants me to share everything I find out about Jake Hurley with him.
I'll bet he does.
He just doesn't want you to show him up again.
Yeah, he wants you to do all the legwork so at the last minute, bam, he can swoop in and grab all the credit.
I wouldn't tell him a thing, Nance.
Unless it's to get lost.
It stands to reason that the only person other than Jake who had to have known the location of Jake's mine was the engineer on Jake's train.
Very true.
Not necessarily. Jake might not have told him the exact location. Maybe he just had him drop him off somewhere nearby.
Well, still, we'd be way ahead of the game if we knew where that drop-off point was.
If the engineer had any surviving relatives, we may be in luck.
The guy died more than 100 years ago. How are we supposed to find out his name?
Maybe Charlena What's-Her-Face could tell us how to go about it.
Good idea, Frank. I'll ask her. I found a diagram for some kind of contraption that Jake designed, but to operate it, you need his pickaxe and some kind of lamp or lantern, which it looks like he gave to somebody named Buell.
Buell? Joe, show her.
Show her what?
That old picture we found.
Okay.
We found this on the bookshelf. See? Buell's Supplies and Pawn Shop. That's gotta be the same Buell Jake gave his axe and lantern to.
Yeah, 100 years ago. And the guy was a pawnbroker, Frank. The stuff's probably long gone.
Or maybe it's still somewhere in Copper Gorge.
Well, that's where we're headed, so let's just hope for the best.
Right.
Talk to you later.
You know where to find us.
An eagle. Where else have I seen an eagle? This must be how Lori disappeared.
Back already?
See you later.
Sounds good.
More questions?
How would I go about finding out the name of Jake's train engineer?
If you're smart, you'd ask me. And because my work is going surprisingly well, during my next break, I'll log on to my archives at home and see what I can turn up.
That'd be great, thank you.
Whoever invented the cellular modem, that's whom you should thank, dear.
I'll touch bases with you later.
All right, then.
Camille with Hager Anderson and Chantilly Hildegard.
Glad you dropped in. Lori told me she'd given you a letter from Jake Hurley that says how to find his mine.
I didn't mention it before because it's very bizarre.
Lori should have given that to me. I mean, I'm the trained professional around here. Let me take a look. I've seen enough. 2 words. Useless. Those are just the rantings of a guy who spent way too much of his life swirling mud around in pans under the hot sun. 5-star nut job.
Lori says she found this letter in a wastebasket.
Exactly where it belongs.
It's been great talking to you.
Helping people is what I'm all about.
This is where Jake's pickaxe goes. I need a spyglass. According to that diagram I found, those 6 gemstones are supposed to go in these 6 holders. But I have... Whoa! Somebody must have thrown the emergency brake.
The question is, did somebody throw the brake or something?
Oh, Joe, now you sound like Lori.
Hey, I was the first one on the scene and I saw no one.
Who was the next person on the scene?
John Gray. Then Balducci came bursting through one door while Frank and the engineer came through the other. Boy, was that guy ticked. He said the train could have derailed. He reset the brake, muttered a few choice words, then headed back to the engine just as you and Lori showed up.
Everybody was there except Charlena. I don't think she left her laptop the whole time.
Do you think she could have thrown the brake and snuck back to her laptop without your seeing her?
Not likely, but possible, I guess.
The question is, why? What did she or anybody else stand to gain by stopping the train?
Answer? Nothing. Which is why I think we should at least consider the possibility that something less human in nature may be at work here.
Ah, Joe.
I'm going to see if Balducci's done dusting for fingerprints. Catch you later.
Back already?
See you later.
Sounds good.
More questions?
Would you like to see the letter that Lori gave me as a reward for finding her?
The one in which Jake Hurley supposedly tells his niece how to find his lost mine? No, thank you. I happily leave it to you to try to solve the mystery of his disappearance. You can afford to look foolish, dear. I can't.
Do you have a theory as to who pulled the emergency brake?
Well, I know it wasn't me. I assume it wasn't you, and I highly doubt it was Lori. So that leaves those two friends of yours, Mr. Gray and Mr. Balducci.
What do you think their motive was?
I don't know about your friends, but perhaps those other two simply thought it would be fun. Boys will be boys.
Were you able to find the name of Jake's train engineer?
I came across 3 references to the fact that Jake had an engineer, but I'm afraid none of them included his name. I failed. Sorry.
Aren't you even going to try finding out what happened to Jake Hurley?
No time. The only reason I haven't insisted that Lori release me from all this silliness is there's always the possibility that what happened to him has the makings of a bestseller, although I highly doubt it.
Why are you so sure that Jake's story wouldn't make a bestseller?
His story is an all too common one. A man wanders off into the desert in search of gold and never returns. Why? He either doesn't have enough food or water, or he encounters hostile natives.
But why was his train found out in the middle of nowhere with just the dead engineer on board?
That does make the story a little more interesting. My guess is the engineer got tired of waiting for Jake to return, took off in the train to get help, and died of a heart attack along the way, after which the train rolled to a stop in Blue Moon Canyon. Anyone experienced enough to single-handedly run a steam engine would have been quite a bit older than Jake.
What do you think happened to Camille?
She probably died of something mundane like pneumonia or even measles. Now, if it was wintertime when she died, and they were in the mountains, Jake no doubt kept her body on the train for months before he buried her, which is rather delicious in a morbid sort of way.
I should get going.
Let me know if you run across anything juicy.
Is this Jake and his wife?
Yes. From what I've read, Camille loved to sing and dance, even in death, apparently. Jake reportedly told people that after she died, he would sometimes see strange glowing lights outside the windows at night, bobbing gracefully alongside the train as if dancing with it. He said he found the sight very comforting. I suspect normal people would have found it terrifying.
What is that?
What's up?
So are you making any progress in here?
Oh yeah, not only am I getting some real unusual EMRs, that's electromagnetic readings, but take a look at this.
You've got something?
I set up a camera and took some time-lapse photos. Sometimes I was in the room, sometimes I wasn't, but somewhere along the line, I managed to get a shot of Camille.
Where? You don't mean that little blob, do you?
Yep, that's Camille.
Okay.
You're skeptical. That's cool. Just remember, the key word when it comes to ghostly phenomena is energy. That blob is the result of Camille's residual life force, spirit if you will, reacting with the chemicals in the photographic paper.
Couldn't it just be a flaw in the photographic paper?
Okay, it could be that too, but it's not. Trust me.
I saw a bunch of weird glowing lights outside the window of the sleeping car.
Really? Actually, I'm not surprised.
Charlena said Jake Hurley used to see them too, only he attributed them to his dead wife, Camille.
They're probably some form of piezoelectricity. See, my guess is quartz crystals in the ground are being compressed as the train passes over them, and the resulting voltage, called piezoelectricity, is manifesting itself as glowing lights, probably because of some quirk in the train shape or in the composition of the metals used in its construction. It was custom built, remember.
So it's a natural phenomenon, not a ghostly one?
Take it from me, old Mother Nature is capable of some pretty scary stuff.
Well, I'll catch you later.
Goodbye.
It's locked. The 3rd of November, 1901, from somewhere in Colorado. Dear Ruth, I know that we've never met, but now that your father, my estranged brother, is gone, you are my only living relative. I am writing to you to tell you about my mind before I, too, depart this earth, and its location is lost forever. I cannot tell you outright where it is, lest this epistle fall into the wrong hands, but with the information which follows, and with my train, which shall be yours upon my death, I promise that you'll be able to find it. But to retrieve his name, you'll have to give the dolls an order. This will require looking inside Camille's dancing shoes for the name of their maker, and wearing the shoes as you perform her favorite step on the dance floor. As for my beloved Camille, she has 4 words for you, words which, when translated into numbers and used in combination, will help power my projector. But alas, she's taken them with her to her grave. So go to Copper Gorge, Colorado, and pay your respects, and let some of her goodness rub off on you. I promised Camille that this train would always be her home. In return, she promised to never leave, and indeed she never has. People say I'm crazy, but I've seen her and heard her and feel her presence on the train even today, 20 years after her untimely death. So above all else, my dear niece, let nothing happen to my train. It holds wonderful things. Kindest regards, Jake Hurley.
What's going on?
Did you find any fingerprints on the emergency brake handle?
None that were any help, thanks to Casey Jones up there. I told the old geezer not to touch anything, but he went and got his big, fat, oily paw prints all over the place. If we didn't need him to drive the train, I'd charge him with obstruction of justice.
Did you do anything else besides look for fingerprints?
Of course. As a matter of fact, I found this. Probably fell out of the perp's pocket while he was yanking on the handle.
Looks like some kind of thermometer.
Yeah, like the kind a certain ghost hunter uses on that bogus show of his.
You think John Gray threw the brake? But why would he do that?
Because they're thinking about axing his show, that's why. I checked with this buddy of mine in L.A. Gray's got to come up with something real big real soon, or he's toast. And you can't get much bigger than a train with a spooky past that's prone to strange accidents, now can you?
Have you confronted John with your suspicions?
All in due time. I always like to get my ducks in a row before I make an arrest.
But couldn't someone else have dropped that thermometer?
Please. Who's the top cop here, huh? Who's the world-famous detective? You? I know what I'm doing, sweetheart. John Gray wanted publicity. That's exactly what I'm gonna give him.
Hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Not a problem.
That must be the projector Jake mentioned in his letter to Ruth. Guess Camille liked to collect dolls.
Yes?
I hear that Tino and you used to be an item.
How did you know that?
I'm a good detective, remember?
We went out a couple of times, yeah. As for why we stopped going out, you'd have to ask him.
Do you have any idea who threw the emergency brake?
I know exactly who did it.
You do?
Well, who else could it be? Camille. None of us has any reason to stop the train but Camille. She doesn't want us to find Jake's mine, so she's going to do whatever she can to keep its location a secret.
Did you see something?
Well, no, but I'll tell you what. Your friend, that Jim Harley guy?
Not Jim, Joe Hardy.
Yeah, well, he thinks it's Camille too. He just doesn't have the guts to say so.
I'll come back later.
I'll be waiting.
Hi, Bess.
Hey, what's going on?
I discovered this cabinet full of old dolls in the caboose.
Old dolls make my skin crawl.
Whose were they?
They belong to Jake's wife, Camille. Jake mentioned them in his letter to his niece.
They could have been Jake's, you know. I mean, they never had a child of their own, right? So maybe after Camille died, he went a little bonkers.
Oh, Bess.
Hey, I'm just trying to think outside the box here, okay? Something it wouldn't hurt you to do from time to time, little Miss No Imagination.
You know, maybe I'll just put this paintbrush down, walk out that door, and let you do this all by yourself.
No! You've got to keep painting! If I don't get this done by tomorrow, I'll be grounded for a month! I was just kidding about your imagination. It's wonderful. You're wonderful. Very, very wonderful.
That's more like it.
Lori gave me a letter that Jake Hurley wrote to his niece, telling her how to find his gold mine.
If Lori knows where the mine is, why doesn't she just make a beeline for it?
Because apparently Jake was too paranoid to tell his niece outright where it was. So he filled the letter with all these weird, obscure clues. I don't think Lori could make heads or tails of them. I know I barely can.
Sounds like when he lost his wife, Jake may have lost a few marbles as well.
I better go.
Let us know what happens.
Looks like I need to enter 8 letters into this thing. The question is, which 8 letters? Darn, the name of the shoes is so faded I can't tell what it is. Maybe Bess and George can help me figure out who made them.
Hello?
Hi, Bess.
Hey, what's going on?
The name of the company that made Jake's wife's dancing shoes is too faded to read, but to find Jake's mine, I need to know what it is.
Hey, I know what you can do. Take a picture of them with your cell phone, then send it to us, and we'll check them out for you.
But I thought you guys had to paint Bess's room.
Boring. Besides, we're going to have to take a break soon because we're almost out of paint.
Probably because Bess has gotten more on me than she has on the walls.
Anyway, send us a picture of the shoes via cell phone and we'll get right on it.
You guys are the greatest.
I know.
Need anything else?
I better go.
Remember, when in doubt, call. Hello?
Me again. Just checking to see whether you were able to find out the name of those dancing shoes yet.
Your wish is our command.
But hang on to your hat. The name is a real mouthful. The shoes were made by Chaussette Chateauyantes. Chaussette That's French for shimmering socks. Apparently, if you were into dancing in the 1870s, that was the company to get your shoes from.
Chaussette Chateauyantes. Got it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for letting us help.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Let us know what happens.
What's going on?
How come you told me you and Lori never went out, and she told me you did?
Don't you ever stop asking questions?
I'm a detective. You know how it is.
I dumped her, okay? I'm not proud of what I did. I'm not happy about what I did, but it's done. It's over. Now let's drop it.
If you didn't want to dump her, why did you?
You are incredibly irritating, you know that? I dumped her because people said going out with her would make me look bad. Said she was a joke, that no one took her seriously. Said if I started hanging with her, no one would take me seriously. So I stopped calling.
But you didn't stop caring.
No. Now take a powder. I don't feel like talking anymore. Still don't feel like talking.
Hey, glad you stopped in. You gotta listen to this.
What have you got?
I put this digital recorder in the corner where Camille showed up in that picture and turned it on so it would just keep recording. Now when you play it back at normal volume, all you hear is background noise. But when you turn the volume way up and run the signal through a filter or two, hear that?
I hear something. It kind of sounds like a woman singing.
Not just any woman.
Camille.
So be careful what you say in here. She's listening.
Are you by any chance missing a small digital thermometer?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. When I went through the box I'd packed them in, that one over there, I came up one short. I was hoping to set up at least 6 in here so I could check for cold spots. How did you know I was missing one?
Because Tino Balducci found it by the emergency brake handle when he was dusting it for fingerprints. And now he thinks you're the one who pulled it.
That's ridiculous. I didn't have any reason to pull the emergency brake.
Is it true that your show is in danger of being canceled?
Newsflash, my show was canceled. Happened last night. But what nobody knows yet is that it's been picked up by a major TV network. Not only am I still on the air, but I'm sitting prettier than ever. Any other questions?
Were you in this room the whole time prior to that emergency brake thing?
Of course not. I made a couple of trips to my compartment in the sleeping car to get more equipment. But did I get an overpowering urge to pull the emergency brake while I was there? No.
I'll let you get back to work.
Take care. Don't even think about it.
More questions?
I'll touch bases with you later.
All right, then.
Nancy, you missed it.
Missed what?
The argument of the century.
Joe, he's exaggerating.
Aw, come on, you heard them. They were ready to tear each other to shreds.
Who?
Charlena and Lori.
All we heard was the tail end of it, and unfortunately, we really couldn't make out what they were saying.
So you don't know what they were arguing about?
No.
But whatever it was, both of them were absolutely out of their minds, livid.
And it would probably be a good idea to find out why.
Let me look into it. I'll talk to you later, okay?
You know where to find us.
More questions?
What were you and Lori arguing about earlier today?
Lori and I? We weren't arguing. We were simply discussing a topic about which both of us are passionate, that's all.
Were you discussing her wanting to be a romance novelist?
No. And even if we were, that's really none of your business. I know that sounds harsh, but really, Nancy, eavesdropping is so tacky.
Actually, it was Frank and Joe Hardy who overheard you. They said I should talk to you before they gave me all the gory details, but since you obviously don't want to tell me your side of the story, I'll just have to get the scoop from them.
No, you don't have to do that. A storyline that Lori submitted to me found its way into my last book, despite the fact that she never received compensation for it. She's reading the book now, and when she got to that part, she freaked.
You stole one of her ideas?
She had no business sending me unsolicited material. But technically, yes. Now, legally, she can't prove anything, and I'm certainly not about to admit anything. And it's not as if she needs the money. But that's what we were arguing about. For what it's worth, I'm going to talk to this producer I know to see if he'll cast Lori in his next movie. It'll help ease my conscience, and who knows? She could wind up being a star. I mean, she is blonde.
I should get going.
My publisher thanks you.
Hey, how's it going?
Tino found one of John Gray's thermometers by the emergency brake handle and is getting ready to throw the book at him.
John Gray threw the emergency brake? Why would he do that?
Tino thinks it's because John's TV show is in danger of being canceled. But when I asked John, he told me his show was just picked up by a broadcast network.
I still say there's less to all this than meets the eye, if you get my drift.
I get your drift, Joe. I have lived with your drift for years. I am saddled with your drift.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Sounds good.
What's up?
I won't keep you any longer.
Come back anytime.
can't stay mad at a fellow detective. What do you need?
Hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Not a problem.
Before you say anything, I just want to say thank you.
For what?
Tino came to see me. He said you'd made him realize what a jerk he'd been for dumping me, and then he asked me out. Isn't that great? He said he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He thinks we make the perfect couple.
Well, I can't argue with him there.
So what do you want?
We'll talk some more later.
As soon as you figure it out, let me know.
Hello?
Hi, Bess.
Hey, what's going on?
John Gray claims to have Camille's voice on tape.
Really? Did you hear it?
I heard a woman singing, but it was very faint.
You heard an actual ghost?
Bess, whatever I heard was barely audible. For all I know, it could have been a voice off the radio or something.
Did the real Camille like to sing?
According to Charlena, she did.
Well, there you go. You heard a ghost.
Oh, Bess, you are so gullible.
Open-minded.
Gullible.
Charlena and Lori had this big, huge argument, and you'll never guess why.
Lori called Charlena a hack.
No.
Charlena called Lori an airhead.
No.
Bess, she doesn't really want you to guess, okay? Tell us, Nan.
Well, it seems that Lori sent Charlena a bunch of story ideas, one of which Charlena used in her latest book without telling or paying Lori.
Charlena stole something Lori wrote? That's incredible.
No, the fact that Lori wrote something that Charlena thought was worth stealing. That's what's incredible.
It makes me think that Charlena is a lot more devious than she appears.
Yeah, better keep an eye on her, Nan.
Talk to you soon.
We'll be right here.
Yeah, washing the paint out of our hair.
If I had a lamp, this is where I'd put it.
What's going on?
You've been a big help.
Anything for a fellow detective.
It's locked.
Sup?
Thanks for the chat.
Pleasure talking to you. Please don't.
Yes?
Guess I better get to work.
Keep me posted. Yes?
Guess I better get to work.
Keep me posted.
Hey, how's it going?
See you soon.
You know where to find us.
More questions?
I'll touch bases with you later.
All right then.
Engineer,
Hi, I'm Nancy Drew. I talked to you before, very briefly.
you're not the one who pulled the emergency brake, are ya?
No.
Good. Because if you were, I'd have to come back there and throttle you. Old as this train is, it's a wonder it stayed on the tracks.
So you have no idea who threw the brake?
Like I just said, if I did, I'd be back there tanning their hide. Now, if you don't mind, I gotta get back to work. Engineer, this better be Miss Gerard.
Well, actually...
Forget it.
Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. Mwah!